We are live. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to House Guest Hangout. I'm Melissa, and my partner in crime, Lindsay, is just uploading our video to Twitter and Facebook right now. So thanks for everyone that's tuning in live. I know like a lot of people are probably tuning in because there's no feeds, which I'm totally appreciative of. I've been not the same for the past like 4 days without feeds. Like all my spare time, I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? Anyhow, for people that are tuning in later after we've already gone live, thank you for tuning in and supporting us every week. So we're two Nova Scotian best friends that like to talk about Big Brother. This week we'll be talking about just 2 episodes and no feeds, so everybody won't get swept away with how much we talk about feeds normally because we're like super fans that watch feeds all day, every day. Yeah, that's my catchphrase. Anyhow, long story short, Lindsay, I think, is ready there to start talking about Big Brother. So we'll just start with the veto episode where Ramsey takes himself off the block. It was a rainbow endurance patience, really, episode where they tested the house guest patience and how much of it they had to actually want to win and or compete really. Ramsey did an awesome job. Dallas and Jarrett were close seconds, and I can't really recall anyone else coming in anywhere near those host guests.
No, those are
And so Ramsey taking himself off the block. And the replacement nominee ends up being, incidentally, Maddie, his new showman. So, thoughts on replacement nominee and thoughts on showman?
uh Showman's stupid. He should know better. She's ridiculous. And thoughts on the replacement. I thought she totally deserved to go up. Um it was inevitable. Nobody else was even considered. So in my opinion. So yeah, I was happy with it. You?
Apparently, there was some talk on live feeds before they went down of the brothers being a potential backdoor nomination. I don't remember seeing that on feeds, the brothers being a potential backdoor. And then that was one of the pitches that Mitch had for the brothers, trying to throw Tim under the bus. So I found that this episode did not highlight at all the fact that Mitch was working the entire house so hard this week to keep Maddie, once she was put on the block, and to vote out Dallas, he was the mastermind, not Cassandra, like Big Brother wanted us to believe, not Jarrett, like Big Brother wanted us to believe. Neither of those two house guests were at all had a hand really in Dallas going home. It was all Mitch, and I really wish they would have shown that because he did such a good job, and especially with Nikki, he totally worked Nikki so hard on top of fracturing a little bit the trust that she had in Tim, because they again got in another fight this week over Cassandra because Nikki was insanely jealous of their relationship and they're getting closeness, I guess. And it all stemmed from a bathtub. Like, so Tim gave his HOH bathtub to Cassandra, and Nikki wanted to have a bath that night. And anyway, long story short, she was so upset. She's like, why wouldn't you ask me first for the bathtub? Like, I wanted a bath. And so that's what stemmed the argument. I think it was, again, long time coming because Nikki, she gave her full allegiance to Tim. So I think she was kind of expecting that in return.
Mhm.
And where he was kind of branching off and really into a lot of what Cassandra was feeding him, I think she was getting upset because at the beginning of the week, Tim really wanted Dallas out, and then Cassandra started, as much as he doesn't want to admit it, started molding him to think twice about that and consider Maddie going out of the house. So
Right.
anyhow, Mitch really worked Nikki and did fracture that relationship quite significantly, which was great to watch. I'm just really sad that it never got aired. So those were my thoughts. Did you
Yeah.
see the feed? You watching that on feeds when he was working Nikki? Like it
No,
was
I didn't see
amazing
that.
feeds. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, take it from me. It was. I'm sure some of our viewers that are tuning agree with me. It was so good. If you're a Mitch fan, anyway. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, he's amazing. I wonder why
yeah,
they're
he
making
really
it seem
is.
like Cassandra and Jared did all the work. Maybe just because those were the two culprits, right? Like people want to watch them do things. And anyway, I like Cassandra a lot though. Go ahead.
There has to be a strong female. And since they voted Loveita out, there's not really that left in the house. Like Maddie wants to believe she's strong, but she's highly insecure, which is her biggest weakness, is her insecurities. Nikki is just learning really the Big Brother game of North America. Like she's used to like playing to the fans, not playing to the house guests. So she's still learning. Really, she's learning. And I think she actually is now starting to want to partake in game, not just be there for like the entertainment value that she's offering. And so I think that since Loveita's out and they don't know potentially if she's coming back in, they want to kind of angle a new strong female lead, and they're putting that on Cassandra. Like, I'm not saying Cassandra's playing a bad game. She's not. She's just not playing the game that they're making her out to play, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. But thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think your theory is a good one because she seems like although I did really think like when she was like, no, we have to get like Maddie out, I think she had really good points. And I think like it was annoying because like the guys were voting from a very emotional standpoint. Like we just don't like Dallas and we don't get along. And whereas I think like if they had got Maddie out, like she is a loaded gun and you don't know where she's going to point it. Right. So I think it's one of those things like get that person out while you have the opportunity. Like the thing about Dallas is Dallas like wore his heart on his sleeve. So you knew what he was doing and you knew which way to like move the game. But with Maddie, it's just like it's this way and then it's that way and this way. It's all over the place.
She's playing with her emotions. She's not playing logically at all. As much as she thinks she is. She's totally playing with just her emotions, and her emotions being she's not mature and she's insecure. Oh, that rhymed. Anyway, sorry. That wasn't
looks like I have a bun. It's my hand. Do you see that?
This week I normally write. Yeah, it's nice. Very nice. This I normally write down notes, as you all know. I'm usually looking down and referring to like what I had jotted down, and I've been working an insane amount this week and had no opportunity to write down my notes, which feels so weird. Like my notes were essentially what I had tweeted out during the live shows. But so this show I'm going to be on like just me. So hope you guys are okay with that. So let's get on to the twist and what we think of that, our predictions, and how it played out, and were you surprised about it? Because one of our questions tonight from at the Reading Cave was, were we surprised with the twist? Do you want to go first, Linz?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think that I was a little bit peeved at the twist in the way that they played it out. Like the way it was presented to us, the audience, the viewership, was that somebody was getting voted back in that night and we would see it. It was never presented like you waited. Like I was so excited on Thursday night to watch this show. I was amped, and I got there and it was just like they were both ready to go. They're in their nice outfits. Loveita did not have a hat on, and I'm like, which one's going back in? And then they're like, stay tuned, and we're dropping the feeds. Like I was furious, and I text you. I was so mad. I was like, come on. Like I'm a committed watcher, and like you've plugged this all week and now you're making me wait 4 more days. That's like being like, we bought a birthday cake for you, but you can't have it until your actual day and it sits in your fridge all week. I was so not happy about that. That being said, like I get it, but I was not happy at all.
Also, like, yeah, it's quite annoying from a super fan perspective that's committed to the feeds, and is also committed to really getting the real Big Brother story, like knowing the ins and outs of what's going on in the house. So with the feeds being down this long and this monumental decision being made of which house guest is going to return, it just leads me to believe like, how much production value is going into the next episode, like versus what actually happened in the house when we couldn't see it. So,
and you know what?
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, they do that, right? Like with like Hell's Kitchen, they'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna like add a new person on or take somebody off," and then they'll be like, "Tune in next week." And with Amazing Race, they do like, "Oh, you get to stay on this week, so you really watched it for nothing." And like, so it's not like the first reality television to do this, but because Big Brother Canada has like affiliated live feeds, and we, the people that watch it, want to see what happens, I felt really gypped. Like that's how I felt.
Yeah. I agree with you. And maybe they listened to our podcast last week. I'm stretching it like completely right now. Like we were saying, it's so ironic because we were saying last week, if you don't watch the feeds, you don't know what's going on, right? Like you
Yeah.
actually just don't know the storyline. The storyline is what the show makes it to be. So from a Big Brother like live feeder super fan, I was really disappointed. But I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like you're just gonna
No,
have to
you
take it
can't.
as it goes. But hopefully that doesn't make season. However, I was seeing on Twitter the other day, and I didn't do much investigative work into it, but I was seeing a link on someone's Twitter that Big Brother Canada was asking, if you had to decide who you wanted back in the house, who would it be? Now, I'm not sure if that was true because I just clicked on it briefly and like didn't really like go into it in too much detail because I've been working
Right.
the past like gazillion days in a row. But I wonder if that's true. Tweet at us and let us know if it's true or not. Just because I wonder if the house guest decision wasn't what production had wanted in terms of who was returning. That's what I wonder. And I wonder if they're trying to get like Big Brother or the Canadian viewers to vote on it and then say, oh, well, you guys decided this. However, Canada wanted this. And so that kind of thing, so that they could get the house guests they wanted back in. I don't know. That's my conspiracy theory. So I really strongly believe after seeing that little excerpt on Twitter that potentially Loveita is returning, because
No
for
way.
production value, gameplay, it would be the best TV for that to happen. Like I think Kelsey, as much as she said in her little like speech that she electoral speech is what it felt like grade 12, when you pretend that you're prime minister
Yeah.
electorians, like that you get your speech. That's what it's like, flashback from grade 12 high school. But anyhow, despite what Kelsey was saying, that she would be open to new moves in the game and open to new gameplay if she comes back in the house, I really don't see that happening at all. I think that's just talk to get back in. I think she'd be more open to. I think she'd be more open to hearing other people a little more and like branching out just a little bit more than what she had been doing with her trio. But in terms of loyalty, I think that it would always fall back on the Third Wheel Alliance. But Loveita, on the other hand, I think her time in the suite really opened her eyes to what's going on when she's just focused on one thing and making one thing happen, which she often every week is just focused on one thing and can't seem to get off that. So I think actually it was most beneficial for Loveita this time away in the suite, just to see really what the happenings of what's actually going on in the house. So I'm excited if she comes back into the house, even though she's not on my pool. For pool purposes, I wish Kelsey comes back in the house, but for game purposes, I really hope it's Loveita, but we'll see.
So I took.
So do we think that the?
Wait, I just wanted to quickly say I took a poll on our Twitter account and I asked, who do you think is going to get back in the house? 50 people voted, okay? 50 people, which is very good. And 45% said Loveita and 55% said Kelsey, which I thought was really surprising. Like it's split down the middle. I firmly, no doubt in my mind, think Kelsey is going back in. I honest to God think Kelsey is going back in. Jared would never unanimously vote for Loveita because that would say to Kelsey, like, I'm not interested in you. And he's so emotional. Like, there's no friggin' way he let that happen. So he would have, like, made their bet. Like, 100% he would have made the pitch to have her come back in. And so would, what's his name? Raul. And no, she's back in that house. And everyone else is like, Loveita was hard to handle. She played too much. It was exhausting. And I think it's just easier to bring Kelsey back in. And I think I would be shocked and surprised. And yes, for like purposes, obviously, on my pool, I would like Levita to get back in. But I really think Kelsey's walking in that house, tits out and everything with that dress. Jesus.
Well, that was the first dress. That was the dress she wore in the first episode to get in the
It
house. It's
is
kind
a
of weird because
very revealing dress. You are on television, global television, national television. Put your tits away. Put them away.
oh, it's international because all the internet, like Australia is
Oh, that's
talking about it.
true.
I retweeted last week courtesy of Netta. I don't know if anyone saw this on our page there, Big Brother Breakdown 902 Twitter page, but I retweeted Netta and she had retweeted an interview by the last Australian Big Brother house guest win before Tim. And apparently he was very like vocal and out there. Not as much as Tim was, but he won the season before Tim. But then after Tim's season, nobody could remember any previous winners other than Tim. So I think there's a bit of bad blood anyway going on there between the two of them. But long story short, he had a radio interview and then Netta had posted it and I retweeted it. If you haven't watched it, go on our Big Brother page there. Anyhow, he was saying how they asked him to come over and he would, it's not good for his career because he just doesn't want to be like going on like the entertainment or like 1 minute entertainment value that Big Brother provided him. He's trying to like make a career in radio and like trying to like branch out. And he even divulged how much Tim is potentially getting paid to be on Big Brother Canada. If you want to hear that interview, it is on our Big Brother Twitter page. It's also on Netta's because she was the one to post it out there to the world and I retweeted it. So I got to give kudos to my girl there. But yeah, it's an interesting interview to listen to. So the international fandom is really watching this Big Brother game between UK.
Well, now
there's
they've
a lot
all
of
seen
UK
her
comments going on out. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. We're getting international like recognition, which is great, really, for our Big Brother world because that just means it'll be going on not much longer, right?
Yay.
Yeah, it's exciting for Big Brother.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I wanted to? There was one other thing I wanted to mention before we kind of wrapped up. This week is going to be a super early episode. I'm working nights tonight, so we're just we're trying to consolidate. Usually we do 40 minutes. Today we're aiming for 30. There was one other note I wanted to note. It was about the Kelsey Levita thing. Let me just think on that. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we wrap up? Think on that.
I keep waiting for like Cassandra and Tim to like hook up, and I actually don't think that that's ever gonna happen. I think they just get along and they're friends. They're like sister and brother. But at the same time, like I really want it to happen. And I also am very curious why Cassandra always has a boot on. Like sometimes she has no like boot, like cast, and then sometimes she does. Like it seems to be on live feeds. She wears this boot cast, and I'm like, what happened to you? Like, what's the deal? Has she ever said it?
Yeah, she got injured in one of the comps. I forget if it was HOH or
Selectively,
you guys.
she wears this boot.
Yeah, so she wears this boot, but I think she tries not to wear it like on or hide it more or less on like episodes that she knows she's going to be getting airtime. That's why on live feeds we see her with it all the time, but she really buggered up her ankle. What I'm interested was this wasn't even what I was going to bring up. It was something in regards to Jared and Nikki. So another thing that they didn't air the other night was the Big Brother Dare and the Big Brother Truth or Dare game. They didn't air all of what was said and all of what went down. And one of the things that went down, and I really noticed this week, was they asked Jared, of all the 3 house guest girls that are left in the house, if you had to kiss one of them, who would it be? And he didn't even blink on it. He didn't even like hesitate. He said Nikki right away and looked at her. And she was like shocked, first of all, and she was kind of shy about it. And then the rest of the week, I kind of noticed Jared like taking more of a like interest in talking to Nikki more than he had previously in the game. So I don't know what was going on there.
That's just so young, and she looks so old that it's like that's really weird.
Well, it's just no. It's more weird to see friggin' Phil Puckett go after her. Like he just looks so baby compared to her, and it's hilarious to watch him try because he's so nervous still. He's totally like not starstruck, but just like moon eyes. Those emojis with the huge heart. That's Phil with Nikki, and it's so funny and cute to watch on feeds. Really, like it makes me chuckle every time he tries with her.
Oh.
But yeah,
I
Nikki's honest to God not interested in people that are in the house. I think she was like super interested to see Emmett when the doors open though. Did you see that? She was listening
yes.
on the other
Emmett looked so good. He looked so good. And I know he's been working out because I follow him on the Instagram and he has his shirt off a lot. I think he's single now. And and he got a haircut. Oh, yeah. And in a tux, I could not handle how attractive. And I think he's so young. Like, I'm going to say he's 26, 27. He's too young for me, but I enjoyed looking at it. Holy shit. He was attractive.
I enjoyed watching the on live feeds the advice he was giving the house guests, and the only ones that were really paying attention to him were like Ramsey, Joel, and Cassandra. Tim and Raul, when I started tuning into it, it was so funny. They were making out with the ice sculptures and like Emmett was giving this all serious advice, and Tim's like, "Oh my God, this is as sexual as I've had in so long. Try it, Raul." And he's like making out with the ice sculpture, and I was roaring in laughter just at the fact that like Emmett's giving this serious advice in the background, and they're just like completely like not even considering the expert advice they're receiving, and partially because I think that Tim didn't believe he actually needed it, and he was being kind of on a high horse there, and that's how I saw it. But I loved him, but that's how I was kind of taken aback by that because like a winner, you weren't a winner in a North American game, so anybody that came close to winning or had like enough of a good game that Big Brother Canada wants to come on and have a strategy session with you, you should be picking their brain to get insight into this game. And I didn't see that from Tim, and that was kind of disappointing actually as a Tim fan. So I can't believe we graced over that because that was so funny. And Nikki on the other side, "Oh, save me a drink." It was awesome.
He's so
cute.
He's so yeah. I like Emmett so much, and I really like, and I watched the sideshow after Thursday because I was so appalled, not appalled, that's probably not the right word, but I was so like offended that they were like, "Catch it on Sunday," and I was like, oh my gosh, I just kept sitting there like crossing my arms like a child, being like, "I watch your stupid sideshow after." And poor Sarah Hanlon like friggin' bit it when she came out. She fell. I felt so bad for her. And Peter talked so loud. And then John Party came out with a man bun. There was so much happening. I was like, why don't I watch the sideshow every single week? It was so good. And also, mad props to Arisa Cox because she stood that whole time in heels for like an hour and a half. To stand on heels, that hurts. So good for her.
Yeah, I'm sure during commercial feeds though she had a bit of a break, but
I know, but that's when it hurts more. When you sit down and then you stand back up, it hurts.
Realize how much your feet were actually hurting when you were standing for that half an hour to 40 minutes? Yeah, totally. Oh. But did you notice John Party Peter?
What?
No, like Peter went to shake his hand and John Party completely shut. And then he said, "Oh, like it's good to see I'm going to be talking to somebody that actually knows about winning the game," to Sarah. So I know from Twitter there was some this is just gossip from me, like being a complete like Big Brother stalker with people on Twitter sometimes, like when the show Big Brother Canada is not airing, but not a stalker, but like just watching Twitter feeds way too much. But I know that they're Arlie and Peter and John did have some discourse on Twitter a while back. I'm not sure if it's there for everybody to tune back into, but it was just kind of interesting to see that they took that to a live aired show, like on Global. So it was, Peter didn't really do anything. It was John. It was all initiated by John, and Peter did handle himself quite diplomatically to the shun, but well, actually, he responded back on Twitter. But anyhow, if you guys haven't checked any of that out, you'll have to do your own investigation on their Twitter accounts there, the discourse. It was months ago that it went on. But yeah, anyhow, so anything else you want to add before we wrap up today? We
It's
kind of
on in
covered
30
as much
minutes.
as they let us.
It's on in 30 minutes. I will be shocked if Loveita walks in that house. I really want her to because I think she's got a better head in the game. But I think Kelsey's walking back in, and I will be shocked if she just doesn't buddy up with Jared and Raul again. She might bring in a couple of people. I think she trusts Cassandra a little bit more. I can't wait to see what happens. And then I cannot wait for feeds to be back. I feel like a child because I'm like, oh yeah, feeds are back. Like, I'm just so excited. You?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for feeds. I, of course, am working nights the next 2 nights. So, and it starts at 7 p.m. And I'm just like, literally, when we're done this podcast, I'm on my way to work as quickly as I can get there. However, I will be tuning in tomorrow when I wake up.
Yay!
And I will be tuning into feeds, hopefully, when I wake up and giving my verbatim. Of course, depending upon what time I sleep too. It might be a Tuesday thing as well before the Wednesday show. But I will definitely give my after the fact thoughts on Twitter with emojis. Of course, I'm the emoji person, and Lindsay is the GIF girl. And sometimes you don't GIF, but you like to be visual with pictures, and I like my emojis. So if ever you're wondering on our Twitter account who's who, I'm the emoji girl, and Linz is the visual picture GIF girl. So it was so lovely tuning in with you all this evening. If you're watching for pre-show entertainment, I hope that we lived up to that. Please tweet at us questions, thoughts for our next episode. We would love to answer them. We will give you mad props on Twitter, as we will be doing to at the Reading Cave today. Again, thanks wherever you're at in Canada or the States or internationally. So thank you for tuning in to us. We really appreciate your support.